Well, there's my bride waiting. She's got the end of that row of squash and she's done. She did that whole double-side, double-rowed beans. Weeds haven't been any worse than normal. It's about par for the course on this end of the garden. We got a few weeds in the okra, but we had put compost powder and mulch up next to them to where they are just right in the row. Well, we take a rear tiller and went over that high spot several times, and today I went over it again this morning, and I've got 4 tubs of this. Last night I had 2 of these tubs, and it isn't bad looking stuff. And you mix that with the regular soil, it'll be good for the soil. And since this end is the weakest end of my garden, and I pulled all the weeds out of here, I do have a wiregrass problem along the edge, and I hate using Roundup, but I sprayed that Roundup on the edge because it's about the only way I can control it. So anyway, I've dumped 4 tubs of that stuff in here. I need to rake it up into that corner, and then I will turn this under, and that will improve this hard packed soil. We didn't really use this last 5 feet. It used to be at the end of a compost pile. Over there was 5 feet, didn't get used. And then when we moved over here, this 5 foot never got used because it's hard to run irrigation to one little spot or drag a hose over here. And now it's time to turn it all under. And this is still high, and I can run down through here if I need some more to go somewhere else. We've got the garden pretty much covered, but since that's going to be a walkway, I can leave it like it is, and then I can plant all this, and if I need some more I can just run a lawnmower from that end down to this end, and that would fill those bins up probably at least 1.5 times. So I could get about 3 more bins out of what's laying up against that fence. Well, plowed over the compost end of the garden 3 passes, and it doesn't look too bad. You see those orange colored roots over here? We couldn't figure what they were. We didn't know if they're coming from the fig tree or coming from the apple tree. Apple tree's over there. We got a pine there and the fig over there. So anyway, there was one sitting right there, and I pulled that one up, and see, it's yellowed. The smaller roots are yellow, and I'm sure if I peeled that, it's yellow. So I started pulling it up, and it stopped right there. I couldn't pull any harder, and it's definitely going to that pine tree. So we'll take an axe and whack it off. So in the last 2 years, I'm sure that root's been there longer than that, but it's been a compost pile here for about 5 years, and over here about, I think we started in 2012. So it doesn't take them long to get in there. And all of these roots up here, well, all the way up into here. But it doesn't look too bad. Now when I plow, I don't walk across the place I just plowed, even if I have to go to the other end of the garden and work backwards, because I don't want to compress the soil down. But it's not looking too bad. I just need to get it to where the plow sits at 6 inches and just grinds away and smoothly goes through it, and you don't get a big pile hanging under the blades at the end up on the front of the plow. But it's not too bad. Well, now they're ready for seed. And here's the compost side. I think about putting another row in here and then doing the rest for melons, because that's well, this is 11 feet wide and the other end is 12, so less a row. We got 9 or 10 feet up there for corn. If we did 11 feet out and 10 across, that's 110 ears of corn. And if we did the whole thing up there, it'd be 330 ears of corn, which is more than we could freeze or eat or probably give away. It is hot out here today, man. Tomatoes are definitely getting thick. We still have little weeds in the okra, and the rabbits or something ate this first 4 feet out. And we've got a few bare spots in here. But I've got plenty down here to take up and put in. And one of the little tips on transplanting a plant is, see how the sun's just starting to get on the garden down here. In another hour or so it'll be all the way to the end. Well, you wouldn't want to take this transplant out of the ground and place it where you have an opening, because then it would bake in the sun. But if you came out here this evening about 45 minutes before dark, and you could have already had your holes dug, and a bulb planter or a sod cutter, you've seen the kind where you got a footprint on each side, a metal plate, and you can just push it down the soil and knock out the plug. That would make your hole, and then you can use it and put it around an okra plant and pop it out the ground. Like, it'd be very easy to get that one between those two, and it would leave good spacing. And by doing it late in the day, it gives the roots a chance to acclimate themselves to the soil. And since this garden doesn't get sun on it till about 11 o'clock in the morning, just before 11, maybe back on that end, they would have from 7, 8 o'clock at night to 11 the next morning for the roots to sort of get acclimated, and they won't stunt the transplant. If you did it during a hot day, because it's been 95 degrees every day, and put it in the ground, it would just wilt up and die. You also wouldn't want to plant one that's really small. Like that one is a small one. If you can get a bulb plant around it, or just take a trowel, it's better to get a healthier plant because it has more roots on it. And it has an easier chance to pick up the soil and the moisture in the ground and keep growing without you losing it. In this little 5-foot spot, I would need 4 or 5. I got 1, 2 there. I could put 1 there. That's 1, and then I need 3 or 4 more, so that's maybe 10. And the rest of them are more than thick enough. Yeah, last night after it, just before it got dark, I transplanted 12 okras in here. You can tell which one they are by the wilt. I watered them in good last night. I'll probably hit them with some more water right now. And we planted this end of the garden about 11 feet or so. You can see my footprints walking from one side to the other planting this. And this has been watered in. And I think it's 11 times 7 rows, or 12 times 7 rows. It'll be plenty to freeze and eat. And my okra were wilted more than I wanted them to be, so I covered those with a blue board laying on a fence, and I covered these with a piece of cardboard. And the sun is coming like right over here, headed that way. So that'll give it some protection, because it's 92 right now and not much air stirring. You can look at the leaves on these tomatoes, and most of them are getting to my eyesight or above my eyes, above my head. They're doing pretty good. Basically we are done, but there is a space here that we're going to put in another row of squash, cucumbers, a mixture of both, or one or the other. And I've got these hills. All I do is just grab the soil with a rake on both sides and pull it into a hill. And I've got ambrosia cantaloupes and Alibaba watermelons.